1 month. That's all the time we have until the first Fallout 4 DLC comes out. Just a couple days ago, we were all super worried about potentially not getting Fallout 4 DLC until the summer. But fortunately, Bethesda pleasantly surprised us by announcing the first Fallout 4 DLC, which is of course Automatron, for March of 2016. So without further ado, let's go ahead and break down the information we have on the Automatron DLC. Here's Bethesda's description of this add-on. The mysterious Mechanist has unleashed a horde of evil robots in the Commonwealth, including the devious Robobrain. Hunt them down and harvest their parts to build and mod your own custom robot companions. Choose from hundreds of mods, mixing limbs, armor, abilities, and weapons like the all-new Lightning Chain Gun. Finally, the add-on will be released in March of 2016 for $10. Okay, so let me start by giving you guys all the confirmed information we have, and then I'm gonna move on to a bit of speculation and prediction. The first thing we have confirmed is obviously robot companions, but it's also pretty clear that we're gonna have a ridiculous amount of customization options with them. Bethesda didn't just come out and say lots of mods or something generic like that. No, they specifically said hundreds of mods, which puts a somewhat quantifiable number on the amount of customization options that you have, and pretty much means that we're going to have at least 100 mods to experiment with on our robots, which is a lot when you think about it. Moreover, we know that this DLC is going to introduce at least one new enemy in the Robobrain, but I personally think it's going to be more along the lines of 3 or maybe even 4 new types of robotic enemies. And the reason I say this is that Bethesda has said that a horde of evil robots has been released, not robot, which indicates that there will be multiple types of new enemies. Also, it's confirmed that the DLC will introduce new weapons for our robots, such as the Lightning Chain Gun. Now, unfortunately, with the way the description is worded, we don't know if the Lightning Chain Gun is an exclusive for your robot or whether you will be able to use it as well. I'll come back to this point in a moment when I get to my predictions for this DLC. And that's pretty much all we know for sure at this point, so let's go ahead and get into some of my predictions and speculation. Which, believe it or not, there's actually quite a bit to speculate on here. My first prediction is that there's going to be a very small quest associated with the Mechanist as part of this DLC. Now, for those of you who aren't familiar with the Mechanist, he was a character involved in a side quest from Fallout 3. And as you might expect, in that side quest he controlled various robots. Now, there's actually already a reference to the Mechanist in Fallout 4 via the Silver Shroud radio station, which you guys are seeing on the screen right now. So, here's my question on all of this. Why would Bethesda even bother to mention the Mechanist in their description of Automatron if there wasn't some sort of quest related to the Mechanist as part of this DLC? Because if they wanted to, they could have just introduced the new robots without any pretense, but there's clearly some sort of storyline involved here. And Bethesda has already brought back some characters from Fallout 3, such as McCready, so why not again here? So, in light of all this information, I'd say it's pretty likely that this DLC will involve a small quest to find and stop the Mechanist, who's probably going to be the same person from Fallout 3, or at least something along these lines. At the same time though, I don't really see this quest being too deep or anything like that. This is only a $10 DLC after all, and they're already introducing a lot with the robot companions, so I would say that we'll probably get one small side quest and that's about it. I'm also expecting very few new locations, if any new locations at all, to be introduced in this DLC for the same reasons. Next, let's go ahead and talk about the new weapons and this all-new Lightning Chain Gun described by Bethesda. Now, at first glance, you would think that the Lightning Chain Gun is something exclusive for your robot. But then the question I have in response to this is why would Bethesda specifically describe the Lightning Chain Gun as all new when the robot companions in themselves are already new? I mean, isn't it redundant to call the Lightning Chain Gun new if it's exclusive to robot companions, which we already know are new by now? Also, if the Lightning Chain Gun is indeed exclusive for robots, why did they not put the word new in front of armor and abilities? Because armors and abilities for our robots are obviously new to Fallout 4. If you ask me, the way this is worded indicates that the Lightning Chain Gun is a weapon for both the player and the robot, and not something robot exclusive. Which brings me to my next and most important prediction. The robot companions introduced in the Automatron DLC will be able to use the same weapons as the in-game player. And obviously, I'm not saying that I think they'll be able to use every single weapon in Fallout 4, but what I am saying is that I think the weapons they can use will be a subset of those that you can use as the player. And additionally, I think that the lightning chain gun as well as some more new weapons introduced in this DLC are going to be usable by the player. So to give you guys a little example here, perhaps both you and your robot companion can use the lightning chain gun and say the laser rifle, but your robot cannot use the Gauss rifle. From a design and programming standpoint, I think it makes a lot of sense for Bethesda to just make weapons already in the game usable by robot companions instead of creating all new weapons that are exclusive for robots, since that would probably be more work. At the same time though, this DLC is clearly focused on the robot companion concept, so I don't expect too many new weapons to be introduced for the player. Moving on here, let's go ahead and take a look at the screenshot released by Bethesda along with their description of this DLC, and if you zoom in on the player in this screenshot, you can see that he's actually wearing what seems to be some sort of new robotic armor. So my next prediction for this DLC is that it's in some way going to introduce new armor for the player as well. Now, a lot of people have been speculating that you'll be able to strip down parts from your and or other robots and make them into armor, but I think it's more likely that this is some sort of unique armor that you perhaps get from the theorized Mechanist quest. Another question I've been pondering is whether or not the robotic companions will replace your current standard companion. That is, can you have a robot companion and someone like Paladin Danse, or are they mutually exclusive? I personally think that the latter is more likely, and that the robot companion is for all intents and purposes the same as a normal companion, but I really hope that I'm mistaken on this one, since I actually sort of miss having multiple companions. Along the same lines, will our robot companions be unkillable like the other companions in Fallout 4 are, or will they actually be able to die in battle? I would definitely prefer for them to be unkillable, but I suppose there's just as good an argument for Bethesda making them killable, since they are just robots. In all honesty, I really don't know for this one, so I'm not going to make a hard prediction here. Finally, one really interesting thing that was mentioned in the description of the robots is that they're going to have abilities. Now, I'm not sure about you guys, but I am really interested to see exactly what these abilities are. This is a real shot in the dark here, but perhaps one ability will be self-destruction upon death like sentry bots do, assuming our robots can actually die. Another could be a jetpack for our robot, which in hindsight would actually be a complete disaster, but I would still love to see something like that, if anything just for shits and giggles. Well, alright folks, that is pretty much going to do it for this video. As always, if you enjoyed, be sure to drop me a like down below, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already for more Fallout 4 DLC content in the future. Also, before you leave, be sure to let me know your thoughts on the Automatron DLC down in the comments. And of course, if I missed anything or if there's any new information, feel free to let me know down below. Otherwise, I hope you all have an awesome rest of your day, and I will see you in my next video.